Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing a ball mask set, and this is how we're getting started. So today I'm not going to be showing you guys how we're going to be doing tip placement or nail preparation or filing or anything like that. Right now we're starting off with just acrylic application. And I am using Glamorous Nude, of course, from Valentino. And today my client, she wanted a nude base with a, I guess you could call it like a Cinderella blue. But it is from D&D. And we're going to be doing that color as a French tip with an airbrush design and some stars and a little initial for her baby boy that's coming soon. So these are going to be her baby shower nails. So these are coming out really cute. One important thing that when we're doing this application, if you look at the side profile of my client's nail, she does have a very long nail bed. And her nail beds do have a curve into them. So when placing the acrylic, we are gonna just how would I say it, we don't want to build too much apex because of how her nail is shaped, right? So it can feel like we need to add more and more and more, and then we're gonna just have this big hump of an apex, and we don't want that. So the way I worked with her nails was, of course, like a 3-bead method, but I did go in just to blend in a couple things, and she really liked the shape. She came in with a set prior from a different, I'm guessing from a salon, and her nails did have a bigger hump of an apex, and when I say apex, that's where the nail meets the cuticle area and like the stress area in between those things, right? So like the free edge. So I was very careful to not add too much acrylic to where her natural nail has that rounded shape, because we didn't want to end up with too much of acrylic, right? So I treated this application just how I would any other nail, and they came out very good. So now we can focus on our cuticle beads. I know a lot of us have a hard time with that. So when you get your bead, you don't want a wet bead, you want like a medium wet bead, and we're gonna place it the closest you can to the cuticle. And you don't want to be holding your client's finger up too much until after you've blended that. When you're placing it, your client's nail is facing a little down, not too down either. You don't want everything to run down at the same time. With practice, you'll learn like the different angles, what works best for you and all that. So I would recommend just putting it the closest you can, but definitely not a wet bead, because that's just going to disperse everywhere. That's when you flood the cuticle, and that's the worst, right? So we're going to go ahead and try the 3-bead method here again, of course, so we could just focus on that. And we're going to be starting off with the free edge, and making that nice shape super extra crispy. I call it crispy just because it's super sharp. So yeah, so we're gonna make sure we don't have too much product, and then get that next step in, which would be our second bead, and that's gonna be where we start to build the apex in the stress area. And this is where we're gonna build a little bit more. We're gonna leave a little bit more acrylic than we would than how we did on the free edge. when we drag the acrylic down, we are dragging from the center to the end of the bead. We're not dragging from top to the bottom, just because you do want to leave a little bit of acrylic build up there. And then on to the next step. Again, this is where I want you guys to focus on the cuticle application, the cuticle bead. So we're placing the bead right next to the cuticle area, and then we're going to make sure that the acrylic is flushed to the cuticle, and then we're going to go ahead and blend with our apex and stress area. This is the moment that we look at all side profiles of the nail, the side, the top, all of that. We analyze the nail to make sure that the application is good. Sometimes you'll have some areas that need a little bit of attention, and you go in with a smaller bead. I like to go in with a wetter bead, just that way I can fill in the ridge. I can just kind of blend in if it needs to, because we definitely don't want to build too much on top. So we don't want a thick nail, only in the places that matter, right? But for instance, this application, I did add an extra cuticle bead. I felt like it needed a little bit more structure, and so I just started from top to bottom, just made sure that everything was nice and blended and even, and then that's how our nail application goes, and that is going to be the same for every nail. I would say the thumb is a little different when applying because it is wider, so a lot of people have a hard time applying that. I know for sure I practice thumbs because I do like the way thumbs come out. They look really pretty, but it definitely does take some practice just because they are wider than our other fingers, of course. And so just practice that. That's what I would recommend. Your application, when you have your application down, it just makes everything easier. Your filing time is less, your shaping time is less, and then you have more time to focus on designs and art and things like that. So after that left hand application, I did do the other one. Of course, I didn't record it. I wanted to focus on the nail art today in the airbrush. I wanted to show you guys how that's done. Hopefully you guys learned some things from it. So we are going in with our blue from D&D. I never get the names of the colors that I'm using. I just go by numbers. That's how I number. I number my gels, so that way I know what gel my client wants. But anyways, we went into doing our French tip, and it's funny because my client thought that I did my French tip pretty fast, and I was like, really? I feel like I take forever. I'm such a perfectionist, so I'll go back in a million times just to fix a little area that just is crooked or not even. So I feel like it takes me a while. So when filling in the rest of my French tip, you can go ahead and always fill in with the actual gel brush. I've always felt like when I fill in the rest of the French tip with my nail art brush, I have less product on there, and the chances of me messing up my design is a little less just because I'm working with a smaller brush. But if it is easier, you could just go ahead and do the French design and then go ahead and fill in with your gel brush. Or you can go ahead and do it just how I do it and fill it in with your nail art brush. Both of them work really good. But I would say that filling it in with your nail art brush can take a little bit more time, just a few more seconds. So not too bad, just whatever works best for you. So while I'm editing, I did have a good question in mind. I remember when I first started getting into French tips, I've always liked how nail techs would do French tips, and I loved it, and I was like, I need to do them like that. So the question I would ask myself all the time was, how many coats do you add onto a French tip? So as I practiced, I realized that you're gonna either do 1 or 2 coats. And what I mean when you do 1 coat is because so the reason why you do 1 coat is because the color is opaque enough. It's very pigmented. So for example, this color, very pigmented, and the consistency is a good consistency, which it's not too runny, it's not thick at all, but it is actually very good for a 1 application. So based off of how the French tip color comes out, that's how you decide whether you're going to do 1 coat or 2 coats of gel. For this one, I did 1 coat because the color covered perfectly, and because we are going to be adding designs on top of it. You don't want to, if it's not necessary, you don't add extra gel. I've With white gel, I do recommend to always do 2 coats, and then you'll have full coverage, just how it is with this color. So now we're getting started for our airbrush application, and so we're preparing our airbrush paint, and that's gonna be acetone and gel. I do have airbrush ink, but I feel like this way works better. I wouldn't even know what ratio to do of acetone to gel. You kind of just practice and you learn how much gel to put, how much acetone you need. If you're gonna do a nail or two, you would need less acetone, but because we are doing 8 fingers of airbrush, I did put a little bit more. I was left over with some of the gel acetone at the end, so I did use more than I needed, but better have more than less, right? So we're gonna go ahead and pour that into our airbrush cup and prepare our client to start airbrushing. And today she wanted some hearts, so I finally got to use these hearts. I have some other ones, but they're the wider hearts, so we wanted these. And we are gonna start with the filler hearts. There's the filler hearts, and then there's the outline hearts. These are gonna be like the center one, so they'll have like the, well, I guess it's the opposite, but that's how I call them. Anyway, so today we're gonna be adding it onto her pinky, onto her middle finger, and onto her pointer finger. The other fingers are gonna have stars, and of course her baby boy's initial. And we are also gonna add stars to the hearts where we airbrush them at. So now that we have that all on there, now we start airbrushing, and we're gonna be pressing our airbrush button not consistently, but we're gonna just be tapping it because we don't want the airbrush color to be like a solid color. We wanted to give it that nice blend, so you want to go very soft, and you don't want to go too close. You want to have a good distance between the nail and the airbrush, of course. So these are all tips that I've learned as I've practiced with airbrush. It seems easy in the beginning, but as you start doing it yourself and things like that, you'll see that practice does make perfect in this situation. You'll learn like distance between what you're airbrushing and how long to press the button and things like that, and especially how to mix your acetone with gel. You can always try the airbrush ink. Those do air dry, they're not gel, so they don't cure in the light. So when you would spray those, you would let those air dry maybe 30 seconds to even a minute, and then you could go ahead and start removing the vinyl stickers and things like that, the stencils. But I just find it easier to apply the gel acetone, just because I get to cure it, and then right after I know that's gonna stay and that's not gonna be messing up or anything like that. And so now we're gonna be removing the filler stickers, and then we're gonna be starting out with the outline stickers. And these are gonna be reused. You don't want to throw these away. You can reuse them a few times, basically until they don't stick anymore. That's when you'd want to dump them, but until then you keep them, because it is a waste to be going through them and things like that. It's just gel, it's just airbrush, so it's not going to make a difference, and it's only on the outer part of the sticker. It's not going to get onto future clients' nails. So now we're gonna go back in on the same nails that we added the hearts prior to, but this time we're gonna be adding it, of course, next to it, and then that way it could give it like a two-dimension outline and filler type of look. So now that we're going to start to airbrush and we have all our stickers in place, we're going to do the same concept. We're going to go ahead and go very lightly as we go in. I try to go on the perimeter of the heart, but that's just to get the outline a bit more darker than the center of the heart. But if it doesn't go the way you try, it's still going to give that airbrush effect. I just try to go more on the perimeter. And so before you airbrush the area that you are going to airbrush, you want to make sure that's clear of any lint or anything like that that could possibly get on there. And of course, cure for a full 60 seconds before removing the vinyl stickers. And so onto the next hand, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to apply our stickers. We're going to first start off with removing the stickers and then applying, of course, the outline hearts, and then we're going to go ahead and airbrush all that and then start on to our nail art and finish off the look with a nice shiny top coat. Now that we did all our nail art and we're finally at the last steps of our nail set, we are going to be adding our hot tips clear coat, and we're going to be putting a nice even coat onto all 10 fingers, and then we're going to cure each hand for 60 seconds. I do ask my client to cure twice each hand, just to make sure that every angle, every finger is cured. Sometimes the thumb, if your client doesn't put their hand all the way into the light, the thumb can stay not cured as it should be. So you always want to make sure that your client's hand is all the way in, and do a double take at the end just to be safe. And then of course you want to end with some cuticle oil, and I want to end the video with thanking you guys for staying this long into the video and watching my videos. I do post videos every week to 2 weeks depending on how busy I am. Soon I will be going on to my maternity leave, so I'll be doing videos just more onto myself. And so I hope you guys enjoy my videos. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. You guys can add me on Instagram at the Nail Jefa, the same as my YouTube name. And if you guys haven't liked the video already, please like that button, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you guys for watching.